So we'll learn a short halacha on Pesach. We discussed yesterday that if you live in a city, in our present time, if you live in a city for 30 days, you become a resident of the city, both ways. If you're someone that required to help other with ma'ot chitin, with a flour that was used to bake matzah, or in general the expenses of the Yom Tov of Pesach, or if God forbid you're a poor person that needs the help, after 30 days you are a resident of the city, and the residents are required to help you. So all the above applies regarding a person who comes to dwell in a town. So 30 days he is a resident, but states that he does not desire to live there permanently. If, however, one comes to a town with the intent of becoming a permanent resident, he is considered as local inhabitant immediately. He said he moved, so he moved. If somebody says I moved, but I'm not sure if I'm staying in this town, 30 days makes him a resident. But if he says I moved to this town, to the city, on that day he is already a resident. And he is compelled to contribute for the sake of purchasing wheat for the local poor for Pesach. Similarly, a poor person who comes to a town with the intention of becoming a permanent resident is considered as one of the local poor immediately, and the local inhabitants are obligated to provide him with wheat for Pesach. Even though the inhabitants of a town are not required to provide wheat for Pesach to a poor person who does not intend to dwell permanently in the town, and who has not lived in the town for 30 days, they are obligated to provide him with matzah for Pesach, just as they are obligated to provide him with bread during all the other days of the year. The resident of the town must provide the poor person with food for 2 meals for every weekday that he remains in the town, and food for 3 meals on Shabbos, as stated in Yerideo, section 256. Consult that source. It is customary in these countries throughout the month of Nisan not to recite the following prayers of Tachnun. We don't say Tachnun in the month of Nisan.
Right.
The supplicatory prayers beginning Vehu Rachum, usually recited Mondays and Thursdays, and the Yehi Rotzen prayer that follows the reading of the Torah, nor Tzidkoscho Tzedek during the Shabbos Mincha. Souls are not recalled at all during this month, Meskir Neshomis, and similarly the passage of Av HaRachamim is not recited except the last day of Pesach. During the entire month, the passage known as Tziduk Hadin, Tziduk Hadin, justification of the verdict, is a passage recited at a funeral in acceptance of the divine verdict, and the Kaddish that follows it is not recited at a funeral, even if the departed is a distinguished Torah scholar and the most prominent sage of the generation. Instead, a lecture is delivered in honor of the deceased, and Kaddish is recited afterwards. The rule applies if the deceased was a Torah scholar, even if he was not uniquely distinguished. If, however, the departed was not a Torah scholar, a lecture should not be delivered in his honor, nor should he be eulogized, because eulogies are not delivered at all during this month, except for a scholar in his presence before he was buried. And end off with a positive concept. One should not fast in the month of Nisan, even to individual fast throughout the month of Nisan. Needless to say, a communal fast is not decreed throughout this month.
Yeah, we'll have a problem with the Tanas B'Chor if we keep stuff like this.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, like, if you do
Welcome to you.